So by the time you get to my video, you probably have seen a few videos about Holybro Kopis 1, and you have seen how well it flies, and I can tell you that it controls really well. It has very responsive handling, and also the Betaflight is tuned well with this quadcopter. So now the question is, do you really need this? And because it's quite expensive, in terms of the components, they have very good components put in the quad. And if you tally up the prices for individual components, it will be very similar to the retail price that they're selling, and it may even be a bit more expensive. But you must also remember that this comes pre-built for you, so you don't have to spend your time building this. So who is this really for? If you look at the camera's FPV camera setup, it has a very aggressive angle. I think it's around 65 degrees, so it's really tuned for very fast flying. So it can be for most likely people who have a bit of experience with quadcopter and they want to fly at high speed. And this is a very powerful quad too. You also can take batteries from 3S, 4S to 6S if I'm not mistaken. So the components are really good, very powerful, and it's expensive. But if you want to buy one and you constantly want to upgrade, this one will help you to stop you from thinking about upgrading, because you will grow with you. So maybe in the beginning you can fly this line of sight, and also when you try to fly FPV, take it slowly and try to fly not too aggressively. You can still fly with the camera tube, but it won't be as good as if you fly full speed. But in terms of whether you should get this or not, I think with the components, yes. And the only thing that I can see a problem is that of the wire hanging up, and also the camera is not well protected, the FPV camera, but that's minor issues. But in terms of the overall structure of the quad, is very good, and if it goes on sale, I think it's worth buying it. So maybe you can just wait a while until it goes on sale, but otherwise it gets about 9.5 out of 10 because I take the 0.5 off for the loose wire. Otherwise it's a good buy. Hi guys, I have here the Holybro Kopis 1, and this is the unboxing part of this video. So it comes in this cardboard box. So enjoy the rest of this video. It consists of the unboxing, also the setup of the quadcopter. So the specification is on the back of the box. So according to the specification and also the description, you have one Kopis racing drone, one antenna, 8 blades, one battery strap, and one GoPro 4 mount. And you can read the rest of the features later on. And it has a Runcam Swift Mini FPV camera. Transmission is of the FPV VTX is 15, 25, 100, 200, and 400. Yeah, you can read this later on. So let's open this up and see what's inside. So it comes in its own case. It looks very nice and premium. It has a carry handle. So this is how it's package inside the case. So let's put this in a bit closer. And you have these copies with the props already installed. Before we take this out, let's see what it comes with. Comes with a spare set of props. We have the VTS channel chart, and also this Runcam Swift Mini instruction manual. So I think this is the controller for the Runcam Swift. I think you can change the settings using this controller. Yeah, we work this out later. So this comes with the Runcam Swift. I think you have spare set of zip tie for the antenna, and also string rack for the, no, it's not for the antenna, it's for the receiver. String rack also for the receiver. I don't know what this pack is. You have double-sided tape, also some kind of clips. It doesn't have any instructions to explain what this is. And I think this is the GoPro mount. Probably this one is stuck onto the top of the quad, and the GoPro mount goes on top of that. Okay. So it doesn't come with the instruction how to set it up. So I think probably I have to download it from the Kopis Holybro website. So it's strapped on, the quad is strapped onto the case with a Velcro strap. So this one is a bind and fly version, so it has already got the receiver installed, and also the receiver antenna already installed on the back two legs of the quadcopter. So I think this is the latest methods to install the receiver antenna, so that I think if you move it in all direction, it can still be connected to your transmitter. It can still be in the line of transmission with your transmitter. So I think this is currently the way that it's mounted on most quads. So this is not the X frame. This is more the stretch X frame. Let me just quickly show you the quad itself. It looks pretty impressive. Everything that's set up, and it looks very premium. I just grab the box and then I'll read through the components. So this frame is actually 5mm. It's actually a very tough frame. There's no flex in it, so which is good because it means that there'll be very minimal vibration to the quad. And this is the Runcam Swift Mini. And let's just see how all the wires are set up. This is the bottom of the quad. You can see that the ESCs are mounted on the bottom with some kind of packaging shrink wrap thingy. This is the type of shrink wrap that you can find when you buy your electronic stuff, and then you got this plastic one shrink wrap over the packaging. And this thing, if you made a cut along here or somewhere, it can easily be torn. So this is not very durable type of shrink wrap to protect ESC. And also, if you look at the wires, the model's wires are on the bottom of the quad, and also these ESC's wire running to the flight control board are freely hanging on the side here. So there is a potential problem of this getting caught in branches or grass, tall grass. And also this one, if it gets too free, the props may cut it. So definitely you need to think of a way to secure the wires. So I'm suggesting that maybe we can use zip tie to zip tie it down here, and also here on the side here, so that to make the wires stay in place. The receiver antennas are well mounted. I don't have any issues with that. The camera is up here, and this potentially can be damaged very easily when you crash it. And the instruction doesn't say what this is for, but I think it is for the remote controller that you attach to change the settings for the camera. The model seems nice, and at the bottom the battery is protected by this carbon fiber plate, and inside here you have a soft foam here to protect the battery. And the antenna is, the VTS antenna is placed at the back here, and I think this is well secure, but it's still subject to some kind of damage if you hit it on the ground really hard. And this is an XT60 connector. You have this LED at the back, buzzer, and the stacks are here. The USB port is on right hand side, and then the wires are all soldered and well hidden inside the body, so I think they are well protected. The only thing I don't like is the wires hanging freely like that. So what we need to do before we take this out for a flight, we really need to secure the wires here, 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 and here. I think that's all the physical setup that we really need for this quad. And I don't need to go through the components. They are premium components, and I have no doubt that this will fly very well. I've seen a few YouTube videos, review videos, and they've shown that this Kopis one flies really well. So in terms of the physical setup of the quad, this is supposed to be premium setup, but it has some flaws, which are the freely hanging antenna wires for the ESC, and also the wires for the motors. And this part, the ESC mounted at the bottom using this kind of shrink wrap thing, they are also subject to damage. So I think they use this ESC instead of a 4-in-1 ESC in here, probably because there's not much space in there, and also maybe because if you damage one of the ESC, it can be replaced easily. So that could be the reason why they did it that way. But all in all, this one looks premium, very well made, and it should fly really well. So there's no instructions included with the quad when it arrived. It has it does come with the 2 leaflets showing you the different products from Holybro, and also this one showing you the components that they use in this Kopis one. So you can see that they're using the Kakute F4 board, the Alati VTS board, the LED board with buzzer, the frame. The model is AF40 KB2450. The ESC is 30 amps BILE32. 1 cam Swift Mini. The case, battery pad, and so forth. But it doesn't come with the instructions, so we just need to download the instruction. I understand that the instructions is written by Joshua Bardwell, so I'm going to download the instructions and take you through the instructions to see how well it is written and how it can help you in your setup for this quad. Oh yes, the other thing I forgot to mention is that it doesn't come with the schematic drawings for the board, the flight control board, so I think it should have come with that, so that in case there's any damage or anything that this one needs repair, then we know how the layout is, and we can also know where the ports are, so it's much easier for us to make diagnose any problems or make repairs to the quad, especially the ESC wires and other parts of the flight control board. So it should have come with that. So there's few things I don't like about the setup of the quad, especially the camera. It's not well protected, so what I've done is I've just mounted the GoPro mount on the quad, and then I just put on a soft phone on the camera mount, and then just zip tie it together with the mount, so that when it tips over, the camera is protected. So I'm not going to use any GoPro cameras, but that's just for protections for the camera itself. So in terms of the ESC, I don't like the way that it's mounted on the bottom, and especially with that type of shrink wrap that you put on some type of packaging, because as soon as it's tear, it can be easily torn off. And I've just put some soft foam on the underside of the ESC, and then I just zip tie it, and that's all for the 4 sides. And also you can see some rubber bands, and also the wires from the motors to the ESC, they are not secure, so I just zip tie part of the wire so that it stays in place, and I also put rubber bands there so that everything stays in place. And at the front of the camera I also put a soft foam there just in case. So you don't really have to do all this protection. You can just fly as per normal, but then if you fly quads, you will probably crash once or twice or many times, so it's better to be protected than no protection. So you can overprotect your quad like what I've done here, but you don't really need to. So this is how you protect also all the wires. So if any wires that you don't need, just tuck it away. Other than that, it's a well-built quad with very good components. So the quad doesn't come with the instructions manual. So what you need to do, you need to download it from Gearbest website or the Holybro website. I'm going to put the link down in the description below so that you can click on it and you can download your manual. I'm going to take you through the instructions manual. It is actually a very well written instructions manual. It can be used as a generic manual for any quadcopter setup. So if you are a beginner, you can use this manual, go through the tutorials that's provided in there, including YouTube videos. It will take you hours and hours of watching video and trying to understand it, but in the end, you're going to be able to understand it well. The thing is with this manual, if you are a beginner, you won't be able to understand it quickly. But if you're intermediate, it's good for a reference point. But if you're an expert and you have some experience with this manual, you're not going to use it. So this manual is really for a tutorial for beginners to go through and a reference point for intermediate pilots. So what I'm doing here now is just to go through Betaflight with this Kopis one. I'm just checking through the different tabs to see whether it needs to be set up or not using this manual, because this one comes as a bind and fly version, so which means that the FreeSky receiver has already been installed, and most likely the receiver tab and also the configuration has already set up the receiver to talk to the transmitter. So I'm also looking at the PIDs, and it doesn't seem that it needs to be set up. And I'm just going through the motion and just making sure that there's nothing else that needs to be aware of. And then I'm going to look at the menu and see whether it explains the different parts of the Betaflight setup that needs to be set up for this particular quad. So looking at the Betaflight configurator for this Kopis, I don't see anything specifically that needs to be set up following the manual. Especially this one, because it has already been configured and set up. The thing is with this manual, it doesn't really explain the specifics of the setup for this quadcopter. So if you are new to this, you may not be able to understand what are the things that you need to set up and what are things that you don't need to set up. So by going through the Betaflight, I find out that all you need to do is you just need to set up your transmitter, bind it to the quad, go to the receiver tab, and making sure that the center is in the center 1500 and the endpoints are between 1000 to 2000. So the manual will take you through setting up with different type of receivers, and also it will also take you through the methods of setting up the middle points and end points of your transmitter for this quad. It also talks about setting up auxiliary switch, but not as clear. And you can see my video later on when I do the setup with the transmitter, with the binding, and so forth. So all in all, this instruction manual is very good. It's a generic one. You can use it for other quads too. So creating a model for this Kopis one is not hard. What I usually do is just I copy and paste my existing model, and with this Kopis one you have the beeper. So all you need to do is just to create a model with 3 auxiliary channels, because one auxiliary channel is for arming, second one is for mode, and the third one is for activating the beeper. So I suggest what you do when you create new models is set up a generic one and then just copy and paste that every time that you want to create a new model. So with the XSR receiver, there's 16 channels. So what you need to do, you need to change it to D16 and then change the channel range to 60, and that's it. So you go down to the bind section, and then when you're ready, just press enter. So binding the SXR receiver for this Kopis one is easy. So what you need to do is just connect the battery while you hold down the bind buttons. So what I normally do is to just push the connector of the battery a little bit in without really connecting it, and then press the bind button, and then you just connect the battery. In this way you will activate the binding process for the receiver. Then you just press bind on your transmitter. Yeah, I'm just testing to see whether the receiver is bound to the transmitter. So I just unplug the battery and then re-plug the battery again, and you can see in the screen there's this RSSI indicator on the transmitter which shows that it is bound. And also if you look at the receiver on the Kopis one, you can see that there's a green light, so it shows that it is bound. So the next thing that you need to do is really just to then connect your quad to your Betaflight configurator and just see whether you check if it is bound and do the usual setup. Here I'm going to take you through the Betaflight setup for this Kopis one. And most of the time people are scared of Betaflight setup because they're not sure what they need to do with the configurator. So what you need really just to connect to your Betaflight. I'm assuming that you have installed Betaflight configurator and also the relevant drivers on your PC. With your Mac computer, you don't need to install any drivers. So here you're looking at me calibrating the accelerometer, and I'm turning on the expert mode so that I can see more features, and I'm just going through the parts of the configurator to see whether they are properly set up. But with Kopis one, they're all already being properly set up, so you don't really have to worry too much. And here I'm just checking to see if the receiver is set up properly with XBus, and then I go to this section and make sure that the failsafe is set up properly, and also PIDs. I'm not going to change this because they have already tuned this. And the most important thing is the channels. So what you need to do is just connect your battery to your quad and also turn on your transmitter so that the receiver is getting power and is bound to your transmitter. Sometimes with other quads, you don't have to connect the battery because the USB power will power up the receiver. So here I'm just connecting the battery. As you can see, now it's bound, and I'm just making sure that the battery connection is tight enough and you won't lose the bind. So with this Kopis one, the only setup you really need to do is just the transmitter and the receiver. So here I'm just checking to see whether the channel mapping is correct. So it's TAER here, and which is correct. So I'm just going through and just making sure, and I'm showing you that if you go to AETR, if it's the raw mapping, then you can see the quad on the screen will jump around. So you just have to then change it back to TAER. Then you can see this all stops. So when this all stops, it means that the mapping is correct, and now you just need to check the center points, and there's an easy way to check and set the center points, and also there's a harder way, which is not too hard also, which you use your transmitter screen settings. With the simple settings for the middle point is using the trim buttons. As you can see here, I'm setting the yaw with the trim buttons, the midpoint. Then you will see the next thing that I'm doing is I'm changing the midpoint for the pitch and then the roll. So this is a very simple way of changing it, but then with this way you can only change the midpoints. You can't really change the end points, the minimum and the maximum. So you can see that the midpoint is fluctuating between 1 and 2 values. So what you need to do is you set the deadband to 2, and then you press save. So this is really it for the transmitter settings. You cannot hear that the quad is beeping. The reason why it's beeping is because the quad is set up, and I haven't checked the mode at this stage. In fact, the mode was activated while I'm doing all the setup, so I didn't know about the mode, the arm switch being activated. So I'm just troubleshooting and see what's wrong with the beeping noise. So eventually I found out that it was the arming switch and also the A mode. So you can see here the arming switch is already activated without me activating anything. So when I move that away, I think the beeping stops a bit when I save it, but it was still happening, so that's why I checked the other part of the Betaflight configurators to see what's wrong. So in the end, when I deactivate the permanent A mode, and that was fine. So here I'm setting up the mode. So usually I set up only the horizon and acro. That's all you need, because you don't really need angle, because horizon is the same as angle mode, and horizon mode is you can flip. But sometimes to be safe, it's better that you also set the angle mode, because then you don't accidentally flip your quad while you're flying and when you push your stick to the extreme end points. So I'm also setting up the beeper. So really all you need is 3 switches: auxiliary 1, auxiliary 2, and auxiliary 3. So I'm just testing the beeper here. So everything else from here onwards, I just need to make sure that they're all properly set up and there's nothing else that I need to do. And so far, as you can see, all I need to do is just to create a model, buy, and then set up the channel mapping and make sure that the sticks are between 1000 and 2000 and 1500. So I'm almost at the end of this Betaflight setup. So with this Kopis one, everything has really been set up for you, and the only thing, and I repeat, that you need to do is just setting up model, binding, channel mapping, and just make sure that the endpoints are correct. This is the bind and fly version where the FreeSky XR receiver is installed for you. But if you buy the PMP one, I think the wire is connected to the PPM receiver. So you just need to buy a PPM receiver if you don't want to open up the quad and then change the ports. But I don't think you really need to open up the quad, because the ports are very accessible on the site. So if you want to change the ports, just change the wire and plug it on the other side for S-Bus. So the rest of the video, I'm just making sure that everything is now set, and then there's nothing untoward with the settings, and that it will function properly. So earlier in this part, you also see me testing the failsafe. I think you see here that I'm testing the failsafe, and with this XR failsafe, you need to go to your Tyrannus and then just set the failsafe to no pulse, and then when you turn off your transmitter, then failsafe kicks in. So that's how it works. And then I set the motor stop so that when I arm the quadcopter, the motor doesn't spin up. So yeah, that's it for the Betaflight configurator settings. So as you can see, it's not that difficult, and once you know it, and then you will be fine next time. So this is just like any computer software. You just need to learn it, and then you get used to it. So in this part of the video, I'm going to take you through the setting up of the endpoints using a transmitter. So first of all, in order to do this, you need to center your trims. So you need to press the button until the trim is centered before you can start using the output screen of your transmitter to set the endpoints for your transmitter.
Trim center. Trim maximum. Trim center. Trim maximum. Trim center.
So if your channel mappings is TAER, that means it's throttle, aileron, elevator, and rudder. So which means that channel 1 is throttle, channel 2 is roll, channel 3 is pitch, and channel 4 is yaw. So in this way, you will know which channel to go to when you want to adjust the channel endpoints. So basically with the channel endpoint settings, you just need to go to the relevant channel and go to the, if you want to change the minimum endpoint, just go to the minimum and hold the sticks to the minimum, and then you just scroll, use the plus or minus buttons to go up and down, and then you look at the Betaflight configurator and to show to see where the numbers are. So if you want to change it to 1000, you'll just reduce it, the numbers on the screen to whatever numbers, and while you're looking at the Betaflight configurator. So when it reaches 1000, then you just stop and then you press exit, and then you go to the maximum endpoint, and then you adjust that with the sticks to the maximum, and then just do the up and down buttons again, and then until it reaches 2000. So that's very simple. So the rest of the video you can see that that's what I'm doing.
Trim center. Trim center. Trim center. Trim center.
So in this part, I'm really adjusting the center points of the sticks. So you just scroll to the relevant channel, and then you just go to that section where you are seeing on the transmitter screen now, and then you press enter, and then you just go up and down while you have your sticks in the middle section, middle point, and then if it reaches 1500, then you just stop and then exit, and that's it, and you're done with the channel setup with the endpoints, maximum points, and also the midpoints. So in this part of the video, I'm just testing out the FPV camera to see that whether it works or not. So I'm just connecting the battery and just using the G10 monitor watch, and it connects to channel B3, band B, channel 3, and also it connects to fast shot band F, channel 3 for this particular settings. So with this flight control board, you can actually change the Betaflight settings using the stick combinations to bring up the menu in your goggles. So you need to put on your goggles, or you can use a monitor. So I can see the utility using this in the field when you want to change your PID settings. And this one also you can change the VTX band and channels using the menu on Betaflight through your goggles. So I'm not going to change any of the settings, but what I'm doing here is just going through the different settings of Betaflight using these goggles and also the transmitter. So just have a look at this, and you can try this next time. Here I'm just going to connect the remote control to the FPV camera, just to show you that you can use the remote control to change the settings for your FPV camera. So I'm not going to touch any of the settings. All I'm doing is just to take you through the menu and let you see the different functions or different settings that you can do with the camera. So with these buttons you can go left, right, up and down. So the rest of the video is obviously taking you through the different settings of the camera. So here I'm just testing out the Kopis 1 inside the house. So I just connected and then started filming this, and I'm not very used to the Kopis 1. As you can see, the throttle is not, I'm not used to the throttle, so I have to throttle up, and it seems to have to be about 50 for the throttle, so it's a bit sensitive, but it's really very stable even in angle mode. So if you can see the camera there, the camera is pointed quite tilted quite high up, so because I'm flying in the house, I cannot point it level, otherwise I'll be crashing into the wall. So it controls really well. It's also very quiet, so just enjoy the rest of the flight and you will see what I mean. So it's a very good quad to fly, so I can see that it will fly very well outdoors. You can see in this video, it's recorded using the FactShark Attitude V4. The CCD camera is very good, it's clear and it handles low lights pretty well. So I have no complaint with the video quality of this CCD camera. So just enjoy the rest of this video. Well, that concludes this video. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and please like and subscribe to my channel for more videos. So just remember that quadcopter is not rocket science. See you next time.
Alright.